Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Scott Mineta again. It's day 2 of my journey to teach everybody about parental alienation. It's one of the most traumatizing experiences that a parent can go through. However, most people, and even more frighteningly, most of your experts, your so-called experts, judges, lawyers, guardian ad litem's, therapists, don't even know what it is, much less understand the complex dynamics that are involved. In today's video, I'm going to try to unpack parental alienation a little bit and help you understand. Its form of relational abuse. It's parental alienation is it's a strategy. It's a strategy where one parent destroys their child's relationship with the other parent. They turn the child against the other parent, which is happening to me at this point in time, if what I'm being told is true. And basically it just serves the other parent's agenda. It's as difficult as it is, as it can be when two parents have a child together. What your goal is and what you always want to strive for, obviously, is each parent supporting the child's relationship with the other parent. It's terrible for a child to feel caught in the middle of two parents bickering. If you're a parent talking negatively about the other parent, which we all know happens more often than not, unfortunately. If you're withholding the child from the other parent, it's damaging. It's extremely damaging to the child. The child is half mom and half dad. That's their makeup, and the last thing they want to do is be caught in the middle of it. The children are identified, in essence, with both of us. They're made up of that. It's part of their DNA. Because of this, and if they're caught in the middle of it, this puts that child at war with themselves. It rips them in half, basically, emotionally, and it throws poison into a relationship that's extremely important for them in so many ways. I haven't even mentioned the attachment element of this. Like, all this being said, these kinds of unconscious dynamics, such as complaining about other parents, the other parent, or contention over custody time, or power struggles through detrimental and very, very detrimental thing. Like, this is something that you see in so many family system dynamics. It's bad. It's sad. But let me tell you something. That's not parental alienation. Parental alienation is a whole nother ball of wax. It's a whole nother level. Parental alienation, it's highly sophisticated abuse process. Remember that the intention, and believe me when I tell you this, believe me, it will be carefully disguised. But the goal is to turn the child against the other parent so that that child picks their side and inevitably rejects and abandons the other parent. That's it. That's when you know that the alienation has succeeded. Inevitably, their goal is to turn that child against you. And when that happens, they've succeeded. It's complete abuse. It's criminal. It's protected by state laws. It's essentially the Stockholm Syndrome. And if you don't know what that is, look it up. It's the Stockholm Syndrome of the family system world. The level of damage that parental alienation will do to all of the people involved, most especially the children, is acute. Let me assure you of that. In order for a person to engage in this level of abuse, you're talking about serious state of narcissism. Essentially, that parent, that alienating parent, is a parent who's playing a zero-sum game. They're going out for their own best interest. That's it. To the exclusion. I mean, it's scorched earth. To the exclusion of everyone and anyone else's best interest, including their child. They're not connected. They're not connected enough to anyone else in the situation, including their child, to perceive the negative impact of what they're doing. They completely and utterly lack empathy. And this is true even with regards to their own children. Don't be fooled by them. They will go to great lengths, great performative care to make it look like they're the only ones. They're the only one who's thinking about what's in the best interest of the child. What's interesting is, due to their own projected traumas, because many of these people who are doing the alienation, they in fact believe what they're doing. They believe in what they're doing because of their own traumas. And this will make their self-gratifying aims seem self-sacrificing, but the reality underneath it is a carefully crafted veneer. Carefully crafted veneer that they are perfectly willing to destroy their own child's well-being for their own vendetta. It's sick. The child, in essence, has become a pawn. The child's a pawn in a game that's scary, dangerous, and damaging for that child. And this is what's happened to my son, Jake. Because the alienating parent has no real sense of other, like they just don't get it. They exhibit this narcissistic relational style. The child will be in an extreme form of enmeshment with the alienating parent. It happens to hostages. The child's feelings, desires, needs, perspectives, thoughts, boundaries, truths, everything become puppets in a ventriloquist act. That's all they are. They're puppets. Their authenticity is suppressed. This child, my son, for the sake of their own safety, has had to give themselves up to stay safe from that alienating parent. Just so they can get their needs met by that parent. My son, this child, regardless of what you see on the outside, doesn't feel safe. That's the truth. And guess what? They're not. They're not safe. My son and these alienated children, they've had to suppress their love for the parent, for the alienated parent, for myself, as well as the desires to be close with them. this child is at to suppress their fragile, subjective experience, because not doing so would lead to consequences, huge consequences from the alienating parent. Retaliation, threats towards that child, they'd be treated as if they were the enemy, and they were betraying the alienator. And therefore, that's how they'd get treated. They would literally be the enemy to that alienating parent. My son, other alienated children essentially are emotional and mental hostages of the alienating parent. And because of all of this, there will be no differentiation between themselves and the alienating parent. It's that enmeshment we were talking about. This deep level of alliance, as well as a sense of just belonging, is enmeshment. And it'll feel good and safe to that child for a while. Much safer than the alternative, of course, right? They're told that, the other parent's dangerous and they need to be protected from them. The kicker is this enmeshed relationship will even be mistaken, and usually mistaken, by professionals, lawyers, doctors, therapists, guardian ad litems, judges, as evidence of a good relationship, rather than what it is, which is total dysfunction and evidence that differentiation or development of self with that alienating parent is actually incredibly unsafe. Super unsafe. This is a child who's developing a codependent relational style as a means of staying safe with that alienating parent. I'm going to take a break.